Hello. I would like you to take a few minutes and think about the products that you use every day that are made from wood. You may be surprised to realize just how many there are. Newspapers, magazines, books. We also use a lot of paper towels and napkins and paper plates, and don't forget the most important, toilet paper. You probably live in a house or an apartment that was built with wood. It has cabinets, it has molding and trim, and maybe even wood flooring. You may even be someone who heats your home with firewood or wood pellets. No one can argue that we are relied upon wood products, and the amounts that we use may surprise you. It is estimated that the average U.S. citizen uses over 700 pounds of paper products every year. And though there has been efforts to reduce this amount, it is clear that we are relied upon paper products. And remember that paper is just one of many categories of forest products. In case you didn't realize it, paper and other wood products come from trees. The forest products industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States. And though we are so relied upon these wood products, there's a common thought out there that harvesting the trees to make these products is harmful to the environment. Certainly, exploitations of forests has happened in the past in our country and is still happening in certain places in the world today. However, in the United States and Europe, there has been a movement to apply proper forest stewardship to ensure that forests can not only produce trees to make forest products, but they can do so in a sustainable and environmentally friendly way. Today, I hope that by helping you understand the importance of forests, providing you with a basic understanding of forest stewardship and how it is implemented, that you will be able to understand that the forest product industry has a positive impact on our forests. Before we learn what forest stewardship is, I would like to briefly talk about the importance of forests. Maybe you have never thought about their benefits before. The benefits of forests can really be broken into three different categories. The first is that forests give us an economic benefit. Forests provide jobs, and they also provide revenue. The U.S. forest products industry employs about 1 million co-workers and accounts for approximately 6% of the total U.S. manufacturing gross domestic product, placing it roughly on par with the automotive and plastics industry. The forest products industry is among the top 10 manufacturing sector employers in 48 states and generates over $200 billion a year in sales and about $54 billion in annual payroll. In Pennsylvania alone, the industry employs over 90,000 people and revenues around $5.5 billion each year. So there are definitely economic benefits, but there are also many important environmental benefits. Forests ensure that we have clean water and clean air. Forests protect many of the watersheds from where our water comes from. And also, for every ton of new wood that a tree grows, a tree removes about 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide from the air, and it releases over a ton of life-giving oxygen. Forests also provide habitat for wildlife and its plant species, and some of these plants and animals are even rare or threatened species. So you can see that there are many important environmental benefits. But there are also aesthetic benefits. Aesthetics deals with the beauty or looks of something. You know, forests have a certain appeal visually, and it's really hard to measure that, but we know it's true. Forests give opportunity for people to recreate and to be in the outdoors, and they provide a place of peace and serenity. So it is clear that forests have an aesthetic benefit. So forests are important, and this is why we need to be good stewards of our forests. So what is forest stewardship? Well, being a steward in general is being entrusted with the management of something that is not your own. So forest stewardship is the wise management and use of our forest resources to ensure their health and productivity for years to come. It could be said that forest stewardship is looking at the bigger picture when it comes to managing our forests. It likes to ask the question, how does this certain type of forest management practice, for example, say logging, impact other aspects of our forest? And other factors would include the water, the soil, the wildlife, the unique habitats, and even individuals using the forest to recreate. You know, a forest steward wants to ensure that the forest he or she is managing is healthy and productive, and that it will be there in the future for others to use and benefit from. So it is one thing to define a concept such as forest stewardship, but what does it look like in action? Here are a few examples. Proper forest stewardship will always seek to protect water resources. Water is very important, as we've already said. And the different resources that it will seek to protect include streams, rivers, swamps, wetlands, and many other aquatic habitats. And there are many practical ways in which this can be accomplished. Some of the ways are managing buffers around these aquatic resources in which minimal disturbance or maybe even no disturbance is allowed. Another way that it can be done is restricting the time of year to harvest timber to the drier times of the year, in the summer or the winter months. Another way is to properly construct and maintain roads that are used for logging. Managing these roads so as to greatly minimize erosion of soil and thus preventing sediment from getting into streams and other aquatic resources. So that's one way that we see forest stewardship in action. Another way is that a forest steward is going to ensure that his forest is sustainable. Now, sustainable really gives the idea that a forest will reproduce itself. You know, the amount of timber, for example, that is harvested should never exceed that which is growing. So how is that accomplished? Well, one of the ways is by only harvesting trees that are mature, that are dying or diseased. And maybe a more important way is by implementing certain types of cuts and harvests of trees to encourage young seedlings to grow and thus produce new forests for the future. So another way that we can apply proper forest stewardship is to protect and improve special habitats. You know, a good forest steward is going to consider possible habitats for rare and endangered plant and animal species that could be impacted and seeks to protect or maybe even enhance these habitats by doing different management practices. And another way of good, proper forest stewardship is that a forest steward will invest money back into his or her forest. A productive forest requires money and time to be invested back into it to ensure that it will be sustainable, that it will be there in the future for others. And there are different examples of this, and a few examples are that we could apply certain type of timber stand improvement cuts that maybe don't give us any money, but yet they remove undesirable trees and help make our forests healthier. Some other ways is that we can treat native and non-native invasive species either with herbicide or other means to remove them so that native species will become established. Another way is by fencing, putting up a fence to protect those new seedlings that are growing from the impacts of deer browsing so that we can assure that those trees will be able to grow and become new trees. And another way is by planting seedlings and also by planting food plots for wildlife to benefit the other users of the forest. You know, all of these investments back into the forest, they assure that our forests will be healthy. So it is clear that properly managed forests can not only produce the resources for wood products, but they can do so in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner. You know, forests are certainly an important aspect and part of our lives and our country, They offer many benefits, economically, environmentally, and aesthetically. As a nation, we are dependent on the products that come from our forests. And so as good stewards, we can ensure that a steady flow of products while protecting the water resources and the future sustainability of our forests. I hope that you have learned a lot today, and that the next time someone says to you that logging is bad for the environment, that you will be able to educate them regarding the fact that there is a movement in our country to be good stewards of our forests. You know, we are responsible to be good stewards in all that we are entrusted, and this includes our forests. Thank you.